this story requires a little bit of context before I get to the latest breakthrough, or I guess breakdown. So Kim Davis was a person who worked in Kentucky and specifically signed marriage licenses. That was her job. Now, following the Supreme Court's decision to legalize same-sex marriage nationally, she was defiant and refused to do so. She would not sign any documents having to do with same-sex couples. And there were a number of right-wingers who came to her defense, including the current Kentucky governor, Matt Bevin, who was a gubernatorial candidate at the time. Now, at the time, he posed in pictures with Kim Davis, as you'll see here, very nice. He also tweeted, was honored to have Kim Davis and her husband ask for me to visit them in the Carter County Jail today, because she did go to jail for refusing to follow the law. And so there was a lot of love that she got for this, right? Now, the update to the story is that a judge has not given her anything she's wanted. In fact, she was taken to court, and the individuals who took her to court won the case because what Kim Davis did was wrong. She didn't follow the law. And the state of Kentucky has been ordered to pay the legal fees for the plaintiffs in this case. And what I love about all of this is Bevin and the state of Kentucky has now come forward to fight that. They do not want to pay the legal fees, $225,000. So I want to give you what the lawyers for the governor are saying. Her local policy defied the unequivocal mandate issued by the Supreme Court, Obergefell versus Hodges, and her local policy stood in direct conflict with her statutory obligation to issue marriage licenses to qualified Kentucky couples. The local policy also undermined the Commonwealth of Kentucky's interest in upholding the rule of law. As a result, the Commonwealth cannot bear liability for any attorney's fees related to challenges to the legality of this local policy.
So do you understand what they're saying? They're not just saying we don't want to pay that gay couple the $225,000. They're saying we shouldn't pay it, Kim Davis should.
Yes.
They're throwing Kim Davis under the bus. The governor is Bevin, the same guy who said, oh, I support her. I'm going to the county jail to help her out and stuff. They're like, okay, now you owe $225,000. He's like, oh no, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. It was that Kim Davis fool over there. Okay, we told her to follow the law. She wouldn't follow the law. What do you want me to do? Okay, it's a some bitch Kim Davis. Right.
He even said, let's go to graphic 33. I absolutely support her willingness to stand on her First Amendment rights. Without any question, I support her, except when she loses this case and the state of Kentucky is asked to pay for the legal fees of the plaintiffs.
I say good for you. You barely see these people on that side do this to one another. It's us who continue to tear each other apart. That's good right. To see that divide and conquer. You know what really is interesting to me? First of all, that picture was funny. It looked like Dorothy, the Wizard of Oz, the later years. When, that looks like the Scarecrow. She looks like Dorothy, and the geek in the middle. But this is coming from somebody who was raised in religion, and we've been talking about it today. The selective morality that Christian people have is so appalling to me, that you would take a stand on gay issues, but everything else. Are you calling the politicians in your orbit to question for what they're doing that's not upholding morality? And it's funny to me how people, first of all, mind your business. That is the thing that burns me up the most. I'm containing myself because I'm very emotional when it comes to this, because I've actually lost someone to this kind of hate. It's none of your business to be worried. The Bible says that no sin is greater than another. Like, I love when people say this is an abomination. That person's homosexuality is the same as your fornication. The fact that you think you want to stand on moral ground and you want to determine somebody's happiness and fate is so unlike what you're supposed to do in the Bible, because the God is the only God, right? And the Trinity. You're not supposed to be God. Like, you're imperfect and you're human. How dare you take the position of God and think that you can judge another when you are an imperfect person yourself?
Well, one of the things I just want to quickly mention is, look, these politicians don't care about you.
No.
They don't care about you. They will exploit you. They will use you as a prop. They will use you when it's convenient and profitable for them, or if it's politically savvy to exploit you. That is exactly what Bevin did. That's what Mike Huckabee did. That's what all these right-wing politicians did. And by the way, now that the majority of the country is in favor of not only legalizing gay marriage, but more importantly, equality for gay individuals in the country, where are all these right-wingers who were hating on gay people before? Now they don't say those things. Now they pretend as if they've always supported gay marriage and the gay community. No. This is who they really are. They will exploit you for their advantage.
They're harping on the caravan. That's what they're doing right
well,
now.
No, they also moved on to trans people.
Oh, yeah.
So they're like, oh, okay, gays, man, I loved hating blacks, but that's kind of fell out of vogue. Not really, but we have to pretend. Oh, we don't have to pretend anymore. Anyway, and then gay people, that fell out of vogue. Okay, the trans people, they're in the bathrooms. They're in the bathrooms. Okay, so come on, you know who's the hateful side. And then they all get hurt, emotionally hurt when you say, hey, you guys are the ones that are hateful. And they're like, what do you mean? I only hate trans people. I mean, last week I hated gay people. The week before that I hated black people. But now I'm just down to hating trans people. Wow, that is mighty Christian of you. So, but I gotta go back to one of my favorite pictures of all time. Let's show the picture one more time, because I wanna point out a couple things here. One, Anna is so right. I mean, you wanna talk about using people as a prop?
Yeah.
This is the definition of that. And by the way, Kim Davis, I got no love for you, but watch yourself. That guy's gonna reach into your pocket in a second. Okay. And to Ida's point, look, every sin is the same. You know my favorite sin in the Bible, right next to the one about lying with a man, shellfish. You're not allowed to eat shellfish.
That's right.
Now, normally I talk about shrimp, but bring me that picture one more time. You're telling me that guy didn't just come from a clam bake? So, but nobody's talking about that, and so it's massively hypocritical. Look, she was wrong in the first place, completely so, and we are consistent on this in every category. We often mention this. There was a Muslim American who, I think it was in Minnesota, did not want to check out bacon, and he was a grocery store clerk, and then they had some legal issues over that. Well, brother, you got to go get another job.
Exactly,
Okay.
exactly. I don't care what your religion is. If there is a part of your religion that prevents you from doing your job, then you should not be employed in that line of work, period. I don't care if you're Muslim, Jewish, Christian, it's ridiculous, right? If you don't wanna handle bacon, you can't work as a cashier at a grocery store.
Yeah, that's just not how it works. And so, but especially in Kim Davis' case, when you represent the government.
Yeah.
Okay, then you are doing oppression on behalf of the government. So finally, it's to the very substance of this. Should Kentucky have to pay? Look, I'd love to have Kim Davis pay too, but she doesn't have that kind of money. But it isn't about who has the money, it's about what's right or wrong. Kentucky did not stop her.
That's right.
And so it is definitely on Kentucky. They had, in the beginning, they could have immediately, the minute she didn't follow the law, Kentucky could have come in and go, you're fired, and we're done with it, because we are not going to accept that. We're going to follow law in this state. But the government of Kentucky chose to keep her there for a long time. And so they aided and abetted this law breaking, and they should be suffering the consequence for it. By the way, that couple isn't even asking for damages. All they're asking for is their legal fees in a case that they won, they were correct in. Of course, Kentucky should pay that. On the go? Don't worry, we got you covered. You can still listen to TYT at our new podcast network. Find us on Apple Podcasts, the Google Play Store, or at tyt.com/podcast.